In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create a line underneath the title text of Chart.js 4. To do this, the first thing what we will need is our border template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. Once you're on here, copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to have the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page. And of course, got a question, put it on Discord. All the links are in the description box. So let's start to create a title first. So we're going to scroll down here, and then we're going to say here after the skills, I'll just put in here, comma, there is a plugins, there is a title, and we're going to say here display equals true. Once we did that, I would like to say here the text, and we can just say here the text, very simple, hello. Let's save that, refresh, and there we are. So now what I would like to do is to put a line underneath. How do we do this? Well, I have to make a custom plugin for this. So I'm going to say here plugins, and put in here an array, and I'm going to say here title line. So make sure you don't get confused with the two different plugins. So let's copy that. Then I'm going to say here constant title line ID will be equal to the title line, and then finally here before the datasets draw, although it doesn't matter in this case before or after, because this will not be on the dataset, it will be just above the chart area below the legend, or sorry, below the title text. So I'm going to say chart arcs and plugin options, and then I'm going to say here constant, and then what we're going to do here for the constant, we're going to say here ctx. And we're going to use one that I hardly use, one of the first times that I'm using this. It's called the title block. And finally here the options. So once we have that, we're going to say equals chart. There we are. Let's save that, refresh, nothing happens. But now I have access to the data in the title block. So if I say here console log, and then I'm going to put in that here, save, refresh. Open up this in the developer tab, and you can see here we get a lot of information here. And what I need to do now is basically get the position here, the height, which is 34.4. That means that somewhere here is the position for the text, and of course, or I mean the vertical level, and then here the width is just calculated from left to right, which is just the width here. That's just the right side there. So we need to calculate that with a machine. So we're going to work on that as well, or machine, automatic. Let's get this first. And let's start to make something very, very simple. I'm going to say here ctx.save. Once I did that, I'm going to say ctx. Fill, no, not fill, but stroke style. Let's give it a design. Let's say here gray. And then I'm going to say ctx dot move to. Then we need an x and y coordinate. And for the x coordinate here, I will get the height from the title block. Or sorry, not even a height. Let's say here 100 for now. And then for the y, I'm going to say title block dot height. Once I did this, I'm going to copy this again. And then I'm going to say 0 and put it like that. And then here, I'm going to say line 2. I'll keep that here, so we have a 100 pixel length of the line, and then I'm going to say ctx.stroke to draw this line. Save, refresh, and as you can see, it works nicely, but of course we can do the 700 to go from left to right. But what I really want is just this specific area. We could move this higher, but I'll work on that later on. The first thing what I want to do here is only show this line if we have a title. If we don't have a title, I want to hide that. We don't need any line. To do this, I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to search here in the options, and you can see here, if I open up the target, the display, which is true. Right now it is true. If I set this on false, or to change that, setting this on false will change that. So what I'm going to do is options.display. So I'm going to say here title block dot options.display, save, refresh, that is true, set it on false, refresh, false. Right now you can see it's still drawing. So let's solve that. So what I want to do now then is to make sure if this is true, I want to say here as well, if true, draw this, else do not draw. So if this equals strict true, draw this line. Let's put it in there, proper indentation, then delete that, and I can just say here the save, or I'll just leave it, that's fine, doesn't really matter. So once I did that, alright, so if I hide this or say false, this should now be hidden as well. There we are. Alright, that is confirmed. Now, how do I get the length of the text here? So what I need to do here is, if we have it, if there is something, what I would like to do now is get that specific text. So how do I do that? I just go to the options here and I'm going to say constant text will be equal to the options. And this options is referring down here to the options here. Then I'm going to say plugins, title, etc. etc. So say plugins.title.text. Very straightforward. That is the text that will be displayed. Now what I'm going to do here is going to say a constant text width. And what I really need is basically the half of it. But I'll just get this first. I say ctx dot measure text. Put in the text, whatever the text is, dot width. So I'm just going to get the pixels of this width. Make sure we spell this width here correctly. That was misspelled. There we are. So once we've got this, I basically need the half of this if I want to put it in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the width first. Just say here the width. So we're going to get this. Now, and I'll save this, leaving this here same. You'll see we'll start now in the center. Oh, there's none. Alright, interesting. So if that is true, measure width, title block width. Oh, of course, the title block width should be divided by 2. Divide by 2. There we are. So now what I want to do is I want to move it halfway here, or basically whatever the width is from the text, I'm going to move that there. So what I'm going to do here, and I do realize that for this text here, to measure this text, I want to fine-tune certain things. Because I'm just getting the default text, assuming that it is bold, 12 pixels, and the same font family. If that's not the case, I need to remeasure that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say here, ctx.font, and let's put it in here, and I'll say this save, let's move that up. So we're going to say here bold, 12 pixels, and then sans serif. Most likely it will not change much, but if this would be a 14 or 15 pixels, it will first calculate the size of it and then measure the official width of the text, which makes sense. So what I want to do here now is basically I'll deduct this by the width divided by 2. Let's put in here divide by 2, or we can say here divide by 2, that's maybe even better. Save, refresh. There we are. That looks nice. Finally, I'm going to say this one. I'll just copy all of this, put in here. But now instead of minus, I'll do plus. Save, move that up, refresh, and there we are. Let's see if we change the font size and everything else changes as well. Alright, the font size doesn't change here because I realize that probably will be in here. Font, and then that will be size equals 15. There we are. Now it works. We could even grab this one if you want. Same logic, and put it in here. Oh, sorry. So if you want to do that, let's say here, put it in here. Font size, and then we say here title font dot size. Grab this, put it in here, but then of course I need to make here a trick. So let's solve that by using template literals. So it's a backtick, alright, and then here $, variable, there we are. Put that in there, that looks nice. Put it all together, save, refresh. That looks nice. So now what I would like to do here, say 20, save, refresh, and that works. How can you push the line up? Let's push it up by saying here height, maybe -5 pixels, height -5 pixels. There we are. Maybe we want a thicker line. You can do that as well. Say constant, well, not even constant, but we can say here CTX align width, and we're going to say here 3 pixels instead of 1. And now we have a nice thick line, but you can see this is no good. So what I need to do here, let's solve that correctly. We're going to say here after the save, I'm going to say here that I should have done that before. CTX dot begin path. So we create a new shape independent of anything else. Save that, refresh, there it is, it's all gone, and now everything works. And that's it.